Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, welcome to the Shake Hands Podcast. My name is Dan McGinney, your host, and my guest today, shake my hand, Mr. Cadin Herrmann.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Cadin, for coming over and shooting the podcast today with me. We'll get right into meat and potatoes. Who are you? You're Cadin Herrmann.
Yeah, I'm Cadin Herrmann. I'm a wrestler for Waterloo East High School, sophomore this year.
So Waterloo East High School, just the other day we had we've had some other Waterloo guests, Eli and Day-Day. Day-Day might be a little young, but Eli, I suspect you know Eli.
Yep.
Yeah, you and Eli's been training together for a few years.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your history in wrestling. Where'd you start? How old were you when you started, and how'd you get to where you are today?
So I started in second grade about 2011, 2012 with the Evansville Wolves Wrestling Club. You were a coach at the time.
I know they don't know this a lot of times. I just tell people.
So
I just let people.
Yeah, I just got a slip at school, started wrestling, and then a year or two after I started, I transferred over to the Future Trojans Wrestling Club, and since then, just been there training.
So you trained Future Trojans, but you're wearing a hat that says Immortals.
Yeah.
So apparently you're training somewhere else.
Yeah, recently, past few years, I've been training at Immortals Athletics Wrestling Club, and
For those at home that may not know what Immortals is, can you give a little background as to where they train and who they are?
so Immortals Athletics is a club ran mainly by Cruz, our house.
You're the first person to be able to say his name.
It started a few years back. Started as Elite Takedown Wrestling Club, and
Yeah, Jamie, I forget his last name. Do you know his last name? Jamie was running that, and he went out to Beat the Streets out in New York.
Yeah.
So if you're a wrestling fan, you probably heard of that, Beat the Streets. He went out there to help promote that and develop that out there, getting youth into wrestling in the New York area. New York has more high schools in the city of New York than the entire state of Iowa. Actually, multiple times more. I actually looked into it one time. I was thinking of going out, but not every high school out there wrestles. So he went out there to help motivate that out there and get that going and raise money to Beat the Streets and recognition and acknowledgement for wrestlers internationally as well as local. So then, so you're training up at UNI. Who are some of your partners up there?
really good guys like Jacob Whittinger, Dan Kimball, Michael McClelland, just to name a few.
Yeah. Okay. Kimball's up at South Dakota State now. He just started his freshman year up there. Red shirt or no? Don't you know? I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you either. I don't know if it was. But we were hoping to keep him here. He was a good partner for you, I'm sure, being small as he is. You and I just got Adam Allard, so maybe you'll get a chance to roll around with him next year. Seeing how you're going to be, a sophomore or junior next year?
Next year, yeah.
Next year he'll be a junior, so that means you've had 2 years in high school. Before we get to high school, tell me about your youth career. Have you ever been to the Pee Wee State? Have you been to regular AAU State? And how'd you do?
So starting in second grade, that's the end of Pee Wee State, so I wrestled there. Couldn't really tell you how I did exactly. Not great, I imagine.
How old was you when you started wrestling?
Second grade.
7th grade?
Second.
Second grade. So that would have been your first year at Super Pee Wee.
Yeah.
Don't remember how you did. Yeah, most people don't remember that far back, but they usually have pictures or something. So you started at Super Pee Wee, and then you went on to Now a lot of kids at Super Pee Wee are trying to wrestle. If you don't know, you can wrestle up into the AAU 3rd and 4th grade if you qualify districts. Did you try that at all?
No, being that it was my first year.
You're just getting your feet wet still.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you went on to AAU. Did you wrestle at state at AAU down at the Wells Fargo?
So I didn't make it to state AAU until 6th grade, and then 6th, 7th, 8th I made it every year then. But so that would be 3rd to 5th grade. I got better every year, just never got through districts.
Yeah, and being that your district is in Waverly, that's absolutely one of the toughest districts. Arguably, I mean, you can argue that all day long, but I know being here that I've seen it, and there's some other districts that are tough, but that's got to be one of the toughest, one of the most loaded. Number-wise, I know that they have at least top 2 or top 3 every year in the number of kids that participate in AU at districts. So getting through that is in itself is quite a feat. I've seen 4 guys from that district go to state, and all 4 guys place out of 8 place winners. So then you were able to go your 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You qualified.
Yep.
And how did you do in those years?
Again, I got better every year. Just never placed. 8th grade year, I lost in the blood round. So.
Who'd you lose to, and how did they place then?
In a blood round, I lost to Tucker Peterson.
Ooh, I know him.
Yep, incoming freshman this year, I
Yep,
believe.
yep.
He ended up getting 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Tucker's a tough kid. He's got I believe it was he does Easton tilt really well. I've watched him do that on several kids.
Yeah.
So you're down at state wrestling. Who goes down there with you? Is it just your dad taking you to these wrestling events? Is your mom involved in this? Do you got brothers or sisters?
A lot of my family comes to support. Obviously, the people that make it on my wrestling team come with. I mean, yeah, just.
So is your mom one of those crazy moms that yell on the side of the mat, or is she a calm mom who just makes sandwiches and keeps it nutritionally filled?
Both.
Both
Yeah.
depends on the event, and the individual.
Yeah. A lot of times I'll hear yelling from the stands. Yeah.
You can pick out that voice.
Yeah.
It's the same voice that says, "Get your room clean."
Yes, it is.
Get your laundry picked up.
Yeah.
All right, and now your dad. I know your dad, Jared. He also helps coach up at the Future Trojans.
Yep.
How instrumental has he been in your career and coaching you? And is he a hands-on dad all the time, or is he letting other guys coach you as well? How does that work?
I think it was hands-on. It was very hands-on until we started training with Immortal. He backed off a little bit and let other coaches there help out more. He's still very hands-on, which I'm okay with. I like that. Just like my mom, I can hear him even if I'm wrestling for high school or when I was in middle school. I can still pick that voice out of the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, sister.
You have a sister?
Yep.
How old is she?
She's 10.
Now, is she a wrestler or is she a cheerleader?
She's a cheerleader.
She's a cheerleader,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, you got an adorable little sister. I see her at the events all the time, running around in a little dress,
Yeah.
just smiling. She definitely brings joy to those people around you. Okay, so what would you say has been some pivotal matches in your life? Is there any matches that stick out to you that you say, yeah, this match, I really changed the way I seen things, or I know I was progressing?
So, one that I was really looking forward to and that really stuck out to me last year was my match against Cullen Shriver. It's one that I was really looking forward to it just because I know how good he is.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Cullen was on a streak to be a 4-time state champion before he was injured last year. So yeah, he was recruited by Iowa.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a top-notch wrestler.
Yeah, so I wrestled him. I think I lost 15-6 or 16-5.
So he didn't pin you or tech you?
No.
If you don't know Cullen Shriver, you don't understand. That actually is really good because most guys don't ever make it the whole match with Cullen. He is quite the hammer. So that's not bad at all. Was that a duel or was that at a tournament?
It was at the Battle of Waterloo, so it's a duel. It was a duel tournament. Our team won the duel, so that was good. But I wanted to beat him.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't able to beat him, obviously. But that's just a match that really sticks out to me, and it showed me where I was, and it kind of humbled me a little bit because I was wrestling really good at the time, and I obviously didn't wrestle bad in that match. But still, seeing that there's different levels.
Yeah, and you were wrestling good, so good as my friend Joshua Swafford had talked to him about you, and then the next thing I know, he was interviewing you. So yeah, he was on his radar as well because he does the rankings for 3A in Waterloo or in Iowa, and he noticed you and asked me about you too. And so, yeah, you definitely have been jumping levels. And then we were really looking forward to seeing you go to state last year, and a lot of people thought you would, and then you had an injury or something occurred. Can you tell us about that, and how's your recovery going with that?
So the injury happened, couldn't tell you the date, it was MVC's, so our conference tournament up in Iowa City. First match, I got in on a low single, popped up, and then I ended up getting stretched out, hurt my left shoulder. Nothing major, just took a lot of physical therapy to get through it, and
one of those aggravating injuries just sticks with you. And you really, in a lot of those injuries that kids get are injuries that you just need time and rest.
Yeah.
But with a wrestling schedule, you know you got 3 months of wrestling season and it's over. So most kids don't have time to rest till it's over, and
Right.
and you know not being able to rest or trying to rest while doing that, it doesn't allow it to heal to where it needs to be. So would you say you're back to 100%, or are you still recuperating a little bit from that?
My shoulder's definitely 100% now. I took 2 to 3 months off wrestling, just working really hard physical therapy, because I really wanted to get back for Fargo since I knew I couldn't wrestle state. Took time off, wanted to get back for Fargo.
Yeah, and did you go to Fargo? Did you qualify for that?
Yep.
And how'd that up there go for you? That's Fargo's freestyle for those of you who probably have heard about Fargo. I only say things that some of you are like, yeah, of course we know. But a lot of our guests may not know about certain tournaments or different styles of wrestling at the time, so that's why I want to make sure that the people who are listening understand that Fargo is a freestyle tournament, and Greco, it's not folk style, which is what they wrestle in school. Freestyle Greco is an international style, so you went up to Fargo. First of all, that's one that is usually on the bucket list for most wrestlers. So how was that trip? How'd you like that? And then how'd you do up there? And how'd that work out for you?
Being that it was my first year able to go and I made it, it was really fun because it's something I look forward to ever since I knew what it was. So the trip up, starting with Fargo camp, it's highly anticipated. Everyone's like, oh, Fargo camp, and then we went to Fargo camp, got through that, had a good camp, had a couple days in between camp and when we went up to Fargo, so weight was good, training was really good leading up to that, so I was well prepared, and the trip was good, everything, so. Yeah.
Now, did any of your teammates or wrestling from either Immortals or the Trojans, did any of those guys go with you up to Fargo? Did you get to make that trip with them?
Yeah. The one bad thing was Greco guys and freestyle guys wrestle at different times, so they don't get to go up there at the same time. So, like you mentioned, Eli, he was just there for Greco. I was only there for freestyle. So, I went up there like 4 to 5 days before him, and I had to leave before he even got there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get to see.
So now, I know you didn't, but could you qualify for both for freestyle and Greco, which a lot of people refer to as Freco? Could you have done both if you had qualified for both? Is that something some guys do?
Yeah, at our freestyle and Greco state, if you get, I believe it's top 3 in either style or both, then you can go.
Okay.
Yep.
So is that something now you want to do that again next year, or are you like, okay, I did that, check? Or is that something you're thinking you want to try again next year and improve on your...
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to do next year. Hopefully in both styles. I was 2 points away from going in both styles this year.
Yeah.
Didn't get it done.
What would you say would be, since Greco is all mostly upper body and throws, what's probably one of your favorite throws? What do you tend to lean towards? Now I'm not giving nothing away. Somebody can't get on track wrestling and look you up and find out anyway and see you, but...
Probably headlock.
And what's the one move that you've probably gotten thrown in the most? So anything like, man, I always get caught in a stupid...
Probably lat drop.
Lat drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Eli throw those the other day, so he should be showing you. I watched him do 2 of those up at Immortals the other day, so he should be doing those to you in practice enough that you should be figuring that out. No, but Eli is a lot larger than you nowadays. He's 145, 155, give or take, a little more. What are you weighing these days, and do you think that rematch with Colin Shriver will happen this year?
I'm weighing 130.
And you're expected to, what's your goal for high school? What weight class you thinking you want to pick?
126.
126?
So I don't know what he's going. I don't really know what anyone's going. So I couldn't really tell you.
Would you like to get that rematch with him?
Yeah.
What if he's at 32? Would you bump up and wrestle him?
If we duel,
If the opportunity was there?
If we duel, then yeah. I talked to Coach about it.
There you go. All right. And now the one thing that I noticed about you that no other wrestler on here has had is cauliflower. So before we show you at home, I want to take a commercial break and we'll talk about just how you got that. All right. See how it's recorded. It didn't get volume. Okay, it worked. Woo! I didn't get the mixer on there. Those of you at home, I thought I just did that whole section without it being recorded. I was just talking about that too earlier.
7th grade? Second grade.
Okay, so it did pick up. All right.
Yeah, don't remember how you did. Yeah, most people don't remember.
All right, good. All right, those of you home, give me a second. We'll be right back. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, mother, fathers, sons, and daughters, welcome back. Those of you at home, you just watched me play with my little phone situation here. Welcome back. Before break, we mentioned that you have cauliflower. You're my first guest. Yeah. I just noticed it. So if you could just show the people at home, I don't know if they can see that. Can you turn to the side? Maybe, I don't know if you see that at home. You got a little cauliflower, not bad yet. So why don't you tell me what's the background behind the cauliflower? And do you like it?
So I didn't wear headgear. I didn't like wearing headgear much when I didn't have to. Obviously, in high school season, I have to now. I actually got it in my left ear first, and we went to the doctor and got it cut. So got numbing shots and then got it cut so it wouldn't come back in the same spot. And now it's in this ear, like you said. It's not too bad yet, though.
Yeah. What was you doing? Who was you wrestling? Who gave you that? Who was the person that gave you the badge?
I don't even. There's not like a certain time.
You just went home and was like, "What's that?" Oh, yeah. Snap.
Yeah. It probably just got worse over time, and just didn't really notice it.
And now, does it hurt? Does it bother you?
No.
Do you like having cauliflower? Like, yeah. Now that I don't even gotta tell somebody I'm wrestling, they just know.
Yeah.
That's like the old saying: if you're in a bar and you're about to get in a fight and he has cauliflower here, excuse yourself to the restroom and leave out the back door, because you're not gonna win that one. Well, so I didn't know you had both ears. Wow. So who do you know that has the best cauliflower ear?
Anthony Watson.
Anthony Watson? Yeah. He was here yesterday. I didn't even look at his ears. Yeah, I was talking to Day. So, all right. So anybody else, did your father wrestle? Anybody else in your family wrestle? How did you get into wrestling?
So my dad wrestled.
Besides your dad taking you to practice.
Yeah, my dad wrestled in high school, just a couple years, nothing serious. And so I actually met Eli Salas in 2nd grade, and I knew him. His dad wrestled, obviously, and we both got into wrestling at the same time for that. And it was just that slip we got at school.
Yeah, so those people who think, you can just word of mouth, get those papers out to those youth wrestlers, because sometimes a kid just needs to take home a piece of paper, and the next thing you know, they're on the wrestling mat, and then they're becoming state-level wrestlers in the high school. So your dad wrestled a little bit, no uncles, no grandpas, nothing like that?
Yeah, my uncle wrestled for Nashville Playing Field.
Okay.
He qualified for state, I think, once or twice. But yeah, just got that slip of paper. It sounded interesting. Asked my parents, and here we are.
So now that you're in high school, do you set goals? Is that something that you do? I know a lot of wrestlers, most wrestlers set some kind of goals. What are your goals, short term, long term?
Short term, meaning like next.
Like this season. If you got shorter goals, some people set goals for the week. Some people got goals every day. I'm doing 10 push-ups. All the way through this year. And then what's your goal say for maybe are you going to wrestle after high school?
So some short-term goals this season. It's kind of hefty, but I want to be a state champ this year, and I think I can do it.
Yeah.
I feel like I was state placer level last year. Didn't get to prove it, but I feel like keep working, state champ this year, and next couple years, after high school, I want to wrestle. We'll see. I mean, anything can happen from now to then. We'll see.
But you want to wrestle in college and somewhere, at whatever level that you are able to attain, you're looking to do that. Now, here's a question that I've seen with watching guys go from high school to college. Would you rather be on a team in college where you're the starter, team's all right, maybe not that much, maybe not that popular of a team, or would you rather, maybe it's not even Division I, maybe it's Division II or Division III, or would you rather be on a team where maybe, like Kel Happel is, like you're on the bench, but you're on one of the best teams in the United States, if not the best team, Division I. So would you rather be a guy that's out there wrestling a mat, not getting the team recognition, or maybe team isn't that good, or be the guy behind a team member?
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I know. It's a question that goes through my mind with my own son, so I know. That's why I wanted to ask it, because that is challenging. I mean, Yeah, and you maybe you haven't decided. Maybe that's something you still got to figure out and think out. But what I would suggest to you, since you look like you are thinking about that and you do want to wrestle, is talk to some of those people that are on both sides of that and why are they okay with that. I know a kid right now that I spoke to not long ago, and he would like to wrestle in college, but he would be totally okay just being on a good team, just being there, because he really is more concerned just about, he wants to go to college regardless if he wrestles or not. So he's really there just for the school, and if he gets opportunity to wrestle, great, but it's not as big a deal. When I know somebody else, if they're not wrestling, they probably don't even want to be there. So the wrestling, something I know that was with me. It drew me to college. I probably wouldn't have went if it wasn't for my college coach encouraging me and telling me he would help me out and get me in college if I need to. So, and now, is there any colleges? Now, I'm not saying that you have to pick a college, because I'm not asking you to commit, because you are what, sophomore now or 11th grade? Sophomore? So you got another year before they start knocking on that door. Okay, Herrmann, we want you at school. But is there any colleges that you kind of already like, that are on your radar since the time of being a kid, or that you have friends at that maybe you'd consider going to? And is there any that you just, no, I would never go to that school?
I'm around you and I so much with training with Immortal. That's one that really sticks out. And yeah, that's the only one that really I'm close to it, and I see the college guys, I see the college coaches regularly.
And from East High, where you go, Tyrell Gordon, he's up there last year, pulled his red shirt, wrestled on varsity, then had ended up going back and letting Sheedenhelm lost to wrestle off or something, and then Sheedenhelm got to wrestle. But he's up there right now. Michael Blockus, both those guys also came from the Immortal Wrestling Club, so it doesn't hurt, I think, to look at that, because both those guys are getting opportunities out there. And personally, I was just talking the other day about who's going to be the next guy. Who's going to be the next guy from this Immortal Club that's going to end up wrestling for you and I. And I'd be more than happy to watch you wrestle there. You know, I look forward, I get excited whenever I see guys' names that people I know that are going to be wrestling there. I mean, I know that you've battled my son in the past and stuff, and the one thing that I just love wrestling, and so I said, you know, whenever you're wrestling, I get excited because I know you. I've even been in your corner before, and it's exciting that, you know, sometimes people at home with your kids, you get to where you're wrestling Johnny so-and-so and your son's wrestling them and you guys are battling. Don't hate that kid or that family for that. Take that as a good thing, because it's iron sharpening iron, and they're just making each other better. And I know that you've made my son better by wrestling him, and I would like to think that he's helped you as well. And so embrace the fact that you have those little wars, because they're kids. They don't matter anyway. Each year it's a bigger and better thing. You know, you're as good as you are in high school because of those wars that you've had, you know. And so I look forward to seeing you. I mean, I get excited. The only time I'm not cheering for you necessarily, and even then it's questionable, is when you're wrestling in the team I'm coaching. But otherwise, I'm 100% behind you, Eli, and all those guys that I've seen grow up. I mean, that's exciting to me to know that, you know, I have a connection to that kid, and I've seen that growth through them years.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your favorite style? Freestyle, Greco, folk style, Sambo, Judo, backyard, WWE, beating up on your dad? Can you beat your dad yet? He don't know. He won't know.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Not yet. I would say the key to that is putting some weight on.
Yeah.
I think you take him, you put another 25 pounds on, I think you take your dad. That's just my opinion. I think, you know, at 125, he's what, 170? Give or take? So, yeah. So, what would you say you like the most?
I like folk style the most.
And why would you choose that style over the other ones?
Well, I really don't know why I like folk style the most, because, so, I really like freestyle as well. It's neck and neck. I'm really good on my feet, which would help me make it would help me make a claim towards freestyle, but I don't know, I really like folk style. I like folk style season, being around my team.
Yeah, and I'm a little biased because I have my opinion on that too, and I know that your coach Cruz, he loves freestyle and Greco and stuff, and he says somebody likes the freestyle scoring system better. Do you like the freestyle scoring system? I mean, take away the fact that they don't let you wrestle on the ground. Do you like that freestyle scoring system, the way the takedowns are with exposure, more than folk style, or do you like the way the folk style you have to have control of your opponent in order to get your points?
I like freestyle better, the scoring system, because I mean, you take someone down and they're in danger. In folk style, if you don't have control over them, you don't get points. But in freestyle, if you take them down, they're in danger. I mean, if they're in bad position, discredit them for it.
Yeah.
So.
No. Okay, what about, say, like the, well, you don't get the takedown, but you get the exposure. Say they
Right.
shoot in on you, or you shoot in on somebody,
Right.
and then they just tilt your shoulders a little bit, but they didn't really control you. You like that part of it too, where you can get the exposure points?
Yeah,
you like to see that?
I like it.
What about the push-out rule?
I like that a lot too.
Yeah, forces them to wrestle in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah.
Okay. Any other rules? Now, if you were a president of the National Federation of High School Sports Athletic Association for Wrestling, and they said, Cadin Herrmann, we want to improve the wrestling in the folk style school season. Can you give us a rule or take away a rule that would help you think that you would like to adjust?
Like you just said, push-outs. It would take away stalling, because in folk style, stalling, it's like one,
Subjective.
3 or 4 stalling calls get to a point, and if you had a push-out rule, just push them out once, it's a point. I think it forces them to wrestle a little more.
What advice would you have for Cadin Herrmann, looking back on your life? If you could talk to yourself maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a great question. Just keep working hard. There's a lot of times where I've lost or had a bad practice, and then you kind of get down on yourself. Just look past it. Keep working hard.
Yeah. Yeah, some people get caught up in the, and then that happens at wrestling events as well. You could have a bad match. You could make one mistake in a match, lose a match to somebody maybe you thought you were much better than. You got another match. If it's a tournament, you better figure it out. I mean, I know that, what plagued me in college is I was a third placer all the time because I just couldn't come out wrestling very tough early.
Yeah.
But then on the backside, I would murder dudes, and people be like, "Why is he on the backside?" And I would just walk the whole backside all the way back to third place. Sometimes beating the guy who beat me earlier. So, but that was one thing I was always able to overcome. I never dwelled on that. And so that's something young kids, it's hard to get over that. And sometimes I think it's the parents. I think sometimes those parents don't help that situation. Your kid had a bad match, he lost. He didn't get his hand raised. He knows he lost. He knows he made a mistake, And then the parents over there, "John, you should have been sprawling harder. You didn't do it," and he's just chewing his tail.
Yeah.
Well, now John's not thinking about his next match. He's thinking, well, damn, how can I get out of this altogether?
Right.
And so I know your dad's been an integral part of your wrestling career, and he's actually affected other wrestlers, and you've seen him. What's the best advice he's ever given you, or maybe another wrestler that you've heard him say that you're like, yeah, that's sound advice? Maybe it's something that other people say too. I mean, sometimes people try to think of something that's just their parents or just their coaches, but good advice is good advice. What's something that he's maybe said to you or someone else?
I don't know. It's hard to pick. I don't know.
Is there any advice from anything that kind of sticks out, or a poster? I know a lot of people like motivational posters that Dan Gable or Terry Bradshaw. Any of those guys? Anything that you've ever read or seen that you'd like, man, that's really, it's a nail on the head on that one.
One thing I can think of is a Kyle Schneider interview last year after Worlds when he lost in the finals. He was really focused on a match is a match, wrestling's wrestling. Wrestling isn't as big as life itself. You can be a great wrestler, but being a great person is bigger than that. So, yeah, he lost a match, but that doesn't change him.
Yeah, he is who he is still. Absolutely. Now, we're getting near the end of the thing. We've got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about what is your favorite. What's your favorite food when you're not dieting?
Pasta or donuts?
Pasta. Now, I've seen it. I've seen the bacon donuts. Could there be a pasta donut in your future? Could you develop the pasta spaghetti donut? That would be something. You bite into the middle and there's a nice juicy spaghetti center of pasta or lasagna.
It could happen.
Ooh, a lasagna donut. Now you got me hungry.
Yeah.
Our favorite food when you're dieting, when you got to cut weight, when you only get a little bit. If you had to get something, you say, look, you only get this much. What's it going to be? What's your go-to? Healthy energy, but you don't get much of it.
It's not something I don't get much of, but I put flavored stuff in my water.
Alright, yeah.
And it's something sweet I get to have.
I
with
bought
my
$15
meal.
worth of that stuff the other day. I bought cases of water.
Yeah.
Alright, favorite singlet?
from this year.
All right. Is that something the whole team, everybody got the same kind of stimulus?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you'll get to recognize who's. All right. Favorite shoe, wrestling shoe. What wrestling shoes you think that are out that you just think they're pretty dope?
The old school Dave Schultz shoes.
Dave Schultz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever watched anything on Dave Schultz? My
Yeah.
favorite thing about Dave Schultz is I heard that they in the Olympics one year, the Worlds, they had to put a referee to make sure he wasn't choking people out because he was putting guys to sleep with
Yeah.
his front headlock.
Yeah.
I just think that's awesome. He and someone else was telling us when they went to train with him out at Foxcatcher that he would always just, first thing he'd do is he's, all right, 3 minutes. And then he would wait, and then he'd go and put you in front like and choke you out, and you'd wake
Yeah.
up, then you'd start working and training.
Yeah.
He used to do crazy stuff like that.
Crazy technique.
All right, so favorite wrestler besides you or anybody you're related to?
Jordan Burroughs.
Jordan Burroughs? All right. I thought you was going to say Cadin Herrmann. Because I know you have a relationship with him. I know he's come back and spent some time with you. Now, didn't you wrestle for East when his father, Willie Gatson, was coaching there? Did you wrestle for Future? Was he ever around? Did you ever get to meet him very often? Or
I got to meet him. I don't remember much of it. I was probably 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
So I don't remember much of it, but I did get to meet him. Yeah.
Have you ever had ice cream with Kyvan?
No.
No, because he's famous for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's a lot more stuff we can talk about. I'm definitely going to have you back when it comes into coming closer to state and
Yep.
and when the rankings come out, we see where you're ranked at. Right now, this is your opportunity to say anything that maybe we forgot to talk about. Thank anybody that you want to thank. Acknowledge anybody you want to acknowledge, or we're in the podcast.
I just want to thank my family for being super supportive and all the coaches I've ever had throughout the years. Yeah.
All right, that's good enough for me. If it's good enough for you, we'll have him back later on this year or after he wins the state title. Thank you very much, Shake Hands Podcast. Cadin Herrmann, thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too.